Right, welcome to Ampocalypse, the show where we talk music, survival, and everything in between. And today I'm joined by Tony West of the incredible Blacklist Union. Let's get the band name right to start with, that's important. We're going to talk about your new album that came out, I believe, in December, Slay the Dragon, the stories behind it, and how spending time deep in the Amazon jungle, which something that fascinates me, I'm not going to lie, has actually come in handy when the world comes to an end. So, first of all, how are you, sir?
I'm okay, man. Thank you. I'm in Hollywood, California, and we got NAMM this weekend. It's a big deal out here, and
yeah,
I usually boycott that stuff, but I've been signed up this year for quite a few things. So, but I get to see a lot of my friends, and so it's all good.
See, I've heard good things about NAMM Festival. A couple of my friends tend to go every single year.
Yeah.
And I won't name which one, but one of them he filled out his Esther slightly wrong and was politely asked to leave a few years ago, so he didn't actually make it all the way.
Oh, no.
But I won't go into details about that because I could find myself in trouble with him.
Yeah.
Now, I want to start off with the record, Slay the Dragon, and it's out in the world now. So, after this record has now been out, how do you feel fans have reacted to it so far? From my perspective, I'm absolutely digging it completely. But is there anything that you were surprised by fan reaction on this one?
I mean, people seem to dig what we're doing. I love this record. I'm really proud of this record. There's some great songs on it. There's no covers on this record, which I always like to put a cover or two, but man, there's some great songs on there. Mississippi Moonhound, Up in Smoke, yeah. Do It for the Song is another one I really like. Horns and Halos. I mean, man, there's one after the other. There's a song, Free at Last, I wrote in part about my friend Casey Chaos that was in the band Amen that passed away.
Yeah, I remember Casey.
And all these songs are divinely inspired, by the jungle. I've been in the jungle, Amazon jungle in Peru 4 times. I just got back. Again, I was in there this past December, and we're already demoing new songs. We got 5 originals. We're gonna do an Aerosmith cover, "Lickin' a Promise," and we got one more original to write. So man, I just keep writing, and rock and roll. I've signed up for a life of rock and roll, and that shit isn't always easy. But hey, man, it's all I know.
Well, few in this world can actually live the rock and roll dream. Many join bands, start that with the stars in their eyes. But you have been able to make a career out of it, which is rare in this day and age, to be fair. Now, you've described the album as being shaped by sort of healing, insight, and explaining pain. So looking back on it now, do you sort of feel the record achieved what you wanted it to achieve?
I mean, any record, I wanted to connect with people, you know what I'm saying? So, and then the way I write, it's very therapeutic. Like, I went through this hideous fucking marriage and divorce, man, that really destroyed me, dude. And, it was the songs and the writing of the songs that helped me get through all that. And, the pain of life or whatever, losing people. And then there's plenty of joy and happiness and stuff. But for me, I think of my body and my spirit almost like a drain. Like if a drain gets clogged up with hair and stuff, like the water doesn't flow, right? So if my spirit and soul and body is clogged up with sorrow and pain and regret and remorse and resentment and all these things, I don't have access to the magic of life, the flow of energy in life that we all have access to, but I don't have access to it if I'm clogged up with all the bullshit that life throws at you sometimes, the negative shit, So I got to constantly work on that, and I do that by going to the jungle, and I do that by meditating and praying and writing music, and I do all kinds of stuff, yoga and boxing, and it's not easy. Plus, I always say, I don't know if you've noticed, but the fucking world has gone batshit crazy, and coming from me, dude, that ain't good. And it doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on or whatever politician you like or hate. The fact is the world has gone batshit crazy, and it's like biblical, dude. It's like a battle between good and evil, and that shit is real. It's a spiritual war going on in this world and right now, and we're living through some crazy ass times, you know. So music helps me deal, man. You know.
I mean, you're not wrong. There's some absolutely crazy things going off in the world, and I'm fairly sure there's people alive today that are sat there just going, "Did you not learn anything from what we went through?" So it's good that there is music in the world for that therapeutic reason.
Yeah.
Now, songs like Mississippi Moon, can't even speak. Sorry, sorry, I'm losing.
Tongue twister.
I don't know why it is. It shouldn't be. I was saying this earlier. The title track and all of these, they have different emotional nerves. Now, do you experience them differently now they're out in the world compared to when you were writing them? Have they taken on any new meanings for you, perhaps?
I mean, sometimes that happens, but what was it? When I started noticing that our music was starting to take on a life of its own was around the Back to Momo record that I wrote with Todd Youth. And then, of course, he died. And it was a long journey back to Letters from the Psych Ward, which came out, it was 8 years between Back to Momo and Letters from the Psych Ward. But I totally forgot where the hell I was going with that. What the hell was I saying?
The question was basically, do you feel differently about the songs?
The songs take
now?
on a life of its own a lot of the times, and since I was 5 years old, it's always been about music. Music has shaped my life. I was influenced by music. So much of our music is about healing and healing and dealing, and walking through it, man, and realizing you're not alone. A lot of the times we can feel alone on this planet, but we're not alone. We're all in this shit together, and not to get all political and stuff, but I grew up punk rock, dude. I learned from a very young age, like, all the governments are designed to keep the people against each other, whether it's the stupidity of not liking someone because of the color of their skin or any bullshit like that. That's all designed to keep us apart from each other, and I think that's coming to an end, because we have to band together. It's, what is it, united we stand, divided we fall. That doesn't necessarily mean the United States. It's just united we stand, divided we fall. And I think people are going to come together. It's going to fucking be ugly. It's just craziness. So this is why I escape in music and love. Like, that's my escape. That's my bubble I live in. Like, I don't watch the news. I don't watch any of that kind of stuff. I don't even really watch TV, because it's so negative. And then you drive down the street in LA, everybody's so angry and stuff. But so music is the thing that I've always reached out to escape the craziness,
Cool. Now, you've mentioned, the passing of your friend Todd Youth, and first of all, very sorry for your loss. And it's obviously left a lasting mark on you. How did that loss actually specifically shape the writing process and, your emotional journey behind Slay the Dragon?
Well, so I lost a lot of people. My first wife died from cancer. I had a girlfriend die. I've had numerous friends die. And when Todd died, I was like, I can't let this destroy my life. Because I knew Todd since I was 15. He didn't know me, but I knew him because I would go see his bands, in New York City, his hardcore bands. And, we became friends years later. But one of my biggest trauma was around death, and that's after Todd died is when I started going to the jungle in Peru with the Shipibo Indians and doing ayahuasca, getting healing. But, I searched for a songwriting partner. See, the one thing me and Todd had was we had this writing chemistry, man, that was just, it's like a marriage. Like, it's trying to find a wife, you know what I mean? I didn't have to tell Todd, check out this Turbo Negro record, or check out this AC/DC record, or check out this, whatever. He already had that. He schooled me, man, and which was relieving because, I'd rather be schooled than school at this time. But it took a long time to find someone to write with, and who I decided to write with was Chris Johnson, Blacklist Union member number 6, who has been there since day one and produced all the records. So me and him started writing, and we did Letters from the Psych Ward and Slay the Dragon, and those records have been commercially more successful than any of our records. However, the record we did with Todd, back to Momo, I mean, people talk about it in the press saying it's a classic rock and roll record, this and that, but I had to dive deep, man, after he died, because I could have let it destroy me and kill me too, and there's nothing we can do about losing people we love. That shit's part of life, So for an artist like myself, songwriter, I'm extremely sensitive, and those things hit me hard, man. So I like where I'm at now, musically, and we keep evolving, and I mean, that's what it's all about, evolving, you know what I mean? So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Very deep as well. I did like that. Now, you've spoken openly about travelling, deep into the Amazon, as you've already mentioned. Jungles of Peru, where you met was it the Shipibo?
Shipibo, yeah.
Shipibo, that was it. What was it like actually making that decision for the first time? Because I'm just trying to think of the right word. It's very spiritual, and it's not something the average person goes, you know what, I'm going to go to the Amazon jungle in Peru, meet this tribe, and do these things. Now, what, first of all, made you decide that's the location, that's where I need to go?
Well, I have a friend.
And what was it actually like, that experience?
I have a friend, his name is Jonathan Shaw. He's a famous tattoo artist. He's from New York City, and he knows my whole life story. And he's the one that introduced me to ayahuasca in LA. And in LA, it's become this trendy, weird thing, and it's not that. It's a sacred, holy thing. It's very sacred, very holy, very spiritual, not to be taken as an LA trend. You know what I'm saying? So people are making the mistake doing that. But and how I found them specifically is when Jonathan had told me about ayahuasca, I started researching who the real McCoys were, like who the real deal was, man. And I found out it was the Shipibo Indians in Peru. So that's where I've been going, ever since. And man, there's no words. There's no words. I always say the ayahuasca takes you to places that you already know. You just forgot You just forgot. Because we're spiritual beings having human experiences. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
And I got a lot of answers. And one of my first intention, because you have to have an intention with each ceremony. My first intention was to see all my people that were behind the veil, so to speak. And I saw all of them. And I still continue to see them in every vision I have. I mean, Todd's come. The first time Todd came to me, man, he was in a pharaoh's tomb, which was crazy. And, I have all kinds of stuff. And all that stuff is in our songs, all of it. So.
Cool. Now, can you just talk me through the ayahuasca journeys, as it were? Because I'm not going to lie, this is the first time I've actually heard of this specific thing. It does sound like it's one of those, as you say, LA trends that the lifestyles of the rich and the famous sort of tag onto, but it's more than that. But as I said, it's the first time I've heard of it, and my understanding is it's described more as confronting rather than conforming, if that makes sense. Was there anything about the experience that you had that sort of directly influenced some of the songs in the record? And as I said, if you could just take me through what what it actually is, because as I've said, it's the first thing I've heard of it, and I've just done a sort of brief bit of research.
You drink it. It tastes like Jägermeister and smells like heroin. You drink it, and then it can last anywhere from 4 to 12 hours. But, and then when I was there the first time, I said, look, I can't do drugs. Like, I'm a recovering, drug addict. I used to have problems with drugs. and they were like, Tony, this isn't drugs, this is medicine. Now, I've done every drug on the planet, and I don't wear that as a badge or something I'm proud of, but I have done every drug. And I can tell you that the ayahuasca is truly medicine. It is not drugs. Because that does something else. It takes you to spiritual realms. You're traveling through space. You're astral planing. It's so much. There's so much to it. It's hard to explain. But like this last time, man. I had an experience with the Father, the Holy Father, dude. You know what I mean? Where I was bowed down. My head was bowed. And not out of fear, but out of respect. And there was a light shining down on me. And I was calling this light and energy and deity Father. So, I'm not religious, dude. But I can tell you, God is real. Jesus is real. Prayers are heard. There's a spiritual world. There's also, I believe, other deities too. There's Vishnu. There's Krishna. There's Ganesh. There's Buddha. All of those things still exist as well. All of that shit is real. And I needed to know that, man. After Todd died, I needed to know there was something else, and I know. And now it's almost like Harry Potter. Like, I got to keep everything at bay. Like, they say keep it at arm's length or whatever. Because how Krishnas or Buddhists or Hindus or whatever, they always talk about observe your life. Don't internalize it. Look at it from the outside and watch the parade go by. Now, that's easier said than done. But when I do that, I have peace, man. You know what I mean? Like, my son's driving me fucking crazy. He's 19 years old. He's in college. He spends all this money. He fucking crashed my car. All this shit. Like, that's my problems today. And I have to leave everything outside of me. I don't know if you can dig what I'm saying. And not internalize it and carry it around with me. You know what I mean? Compartmentalize it. I've done all kinds of work before ayahuasca. From steps, the 12 steps to therapy and all that stuff. But with the ayahuasca, you're forced to confront your pain and your trauma. Because alcoholism and addiction, it's all trauma. All of it's trauma. We're all fucking traumatized, dude, on this planet. Every single one of us. If you're not, you're, Mother Teresa or whatever. But dealing with that trauma, I've gotten some tools from ayahuasca, man, that are unavailable, have been unavailable to me elsewhere that I've been blessed with, so...
Honestly, I can relate to the whole trauma thing because people do go through this. Myself, I've done that. I've been through things as well. So maybe I look into it and see if that's an option for me here in the UK. I probably won't be, but
yeah.
Hey, it's
Did you give me 1 minute,
you might
bro?
turn me into a believer.
I got to step out for 1 second.
No problem.
Can you give me? I just need a minute. All right, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, thanks so much.
No problem, mate.
All right.
Cool. So, coming back to LA after your trips to the Amazon, at least for the first time, and into the studio, what did it feel like you were bringing back? There must have been sort of something that you brought back to the creative process of writing songs as well.
So again, I bring back being an open channel, you know what I mean? And not being like that drain analogy where I was talking about, you know, like a drain gets clogged up with
Yeah.
hair. My body gets clogged up with sorrow. Sorrow was my biggest. I didn't even know how much sorrow I had. But you know, just being open and I mean, clearing away the wreckage of my presence has enabled me to vibrate in a different frequency than I was at. Like everything's vibrations and frequency, you know what I mean? So most people in the world operate on this low ass frequency, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, they watch the news, they're all up in the arms about politics, or you know, they're this and that. But freedom, it gives me freedom, man, is what it does.
Cool. Now, I want to move into the Ampocalypse side of our interview now. This is a bit more of the fun side of things, where we discuss how you, Tony, would survive your own personal Ampocalypse. And given that you've been in the jungle and everything, I want to try and give it a naturey feel where nature has taken over, and that is our apocalypse. So, if society collapsed today and nature fully reclaimed all of the cities and LA and so on, how confident would you be, given your experience in the Amazon, to survive longer than most other musicians?
Musicians, shit, they'll be the last. They'll be the last ones standing. We already know how to survive in ridiculous circumstances. I don't know. I mean, you know, I grew up without the internet, without cell phones and stuff. So nowadays, you know, if they shut down the grid, man, a lot of people would be screwed, you know. But I grew up that way. So, and I don't think that's going to happen in my lifetime. It may, but, you know, I don't have to cross that bridge today. You know what I mean? So.
No, of course. Now, in a nature retaken apocalypse, overgrown cities, wildlife everywhere, no modern systems, as you've already mentioned, what lessons from the Shipibo tribe in the jungle would you take as your survival tool?
Well, acceptance is the key. You know, you got to accept what's in front of you, where you're at with everything, and know that, you know, I'm divinely protected. We all have angels. I mean, this is what I believe. You know what I mean? There's good and evil. Now, some people don't have angels if they're evil, but you know, man, I've been through a lot of stuff and I'm okay right now. So I think I'll be okay no matter what, you know?
Cool. Now, finally, if Slay the Dragon was the soundtrack playing as humanity fades out and nature rises again, what message do you hope survivors from that apocalypse can take from your record?
Well, to know, you know, we have this song called All Hail the King. You know, that's about Jesus. Or, you know, and the whole record is about divine energy and love and acceptance, you know. And also that are the people we love that aren't here on this planet anymore, they still exist. There's still life after life. I mean, we had to come from somewhere, you know. Why don't we remember where we came from? You know, why don't I remember pre being born? You know, like, I don't know, man. There's definitely something else happening. I know in AA and stuff, people have struggles with the higher power, for instance, you know, and it's like, well, I'm not keeping the sun burning, you know, I'm not keeping the earth spinning on its axis, you know, so obviously there's something at play here, but, you know, trusting the divine order, you know, and it's madness on this planet, like the government shit and the news, and it's madness, and it's hard to do, but it takes practice, just like music, just like yoga, so.
Cool. Tony, I want to thank you so much for chatting to me today. This has actually been a spiritual journey for me to some degree. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm looking forward to having you over in the UK. I'm actually going to end on one more question. You are coming to the UK. What are you most looking forward to about my great nation?
I mean, I want to see where the Sex Pistols played in Boat Someone told me they're going to take me to the phone booth of Bowie's Ziggy Stardust. It was still there. I was like, it's still there? And they were like, yeah.
Yep.
And some day drinking. But I always say, you know, my favorite people are Brits, and I love the Brit wit. You know, that's something I love. And, I'm really looking forward to going there. I'm from New York originally, so I think London and New York has a lot in common with attitude and the way people are and stuff, which I love too. So, and then it's going to be pretty weird driving, you know, on the opposite side of the street and all that. So,
yeah. To be fair, we're the odd ones out there. It's like, I think it's like us and Australia or something like that that drive on our side.
Yeah.
So normally I will declare us being correct, but on that one I'm just like, we're completely wrong. It messes me whenever I drive in a different country.
Right.
But Tony, when you come over, make sure you have a cup of tea made properly, because no offence, but the Americans don't know how to make a good cup of tea.
Oh no, yeah. Right on.
Tony, thank you so much.